Are there any additions to the agenda this morning?
Good morning, Madam Mayor, members of council. Administration would like to add 12.2 after closed session, the schedule of fees 2026.
Perfect, thank you. 12.2, after close, schedule of fees. Is there a member of council that would like to approve the agenda with the addition of 12.2 for the schedule of fees? Councillor Jeffrey?
I move that we accept the agenda with the addition of 12.2 schedule of fees.
Thank you very much for that. All in favor? That is carried. Any corrections or amendments to the December 3rd, 2025 regular meeting of council minutes? Is there a member of council that would like to adopt these? Councillor Bohm, thank you very much for that. All in favor? That is carried. So we have no proclamations, public hearings, delegations, or business this morning. We'll jump right into our decision items. We have a heavy agenda this morning. First up is 8.1, Drayton Valley Municipal Library Board. This is for member-at-large appointments. Ms. Whaley or Mr. Von Claveren this morning. Good morning.
Thank you, and through the chair to the rest of council. So on a regular basis, we see reports coming to council for a decision to appoint new members to boards that have been appointed earlier in the organizational meeting. But throughout the year, we have appointments like this one here for the library. According to the library board and the act that we have, the library does discuss this in the board and puts those candidates in front of council for approval, because that's, of course, council's prerogative that they approve the appointment. So in this case, the recommendation is that council appoint to the Drayton Valley Municipal Library Board Jessica Landry for a first term of 3 years beginning December 17th, 2025 and ending on October 31st, 2028. And Paula Levine for a first term of 3 years beginning December 17th, 2025 and ending October 31st, 2028.
Thank you very much for that. Any questions for administration this morning? Is there a member of council that would like to, excuse me, make a motion? Deputy Finn.
I make a motion that council appoint to the Drayton Valley Municipal Library Board Jessica Landry for a first term of 3 years beginning December 17th, 2025, ending on October 31st, 2028, and Paula Levine for a first term of 3 years beginning December 17th, 2025, and ending on October 31st, 2028.
Thank you very much for that. Any comment, question, debate on the motion? Then I'll call the motion. All in favor? That is carried. Next on the agenda, thank you very much. We have 8.2, which is the Recreation Fee Assistance Program, and this again is Ms. Whaley and Mr. Von Claveren.
Good morning, council again. During recent budget deliberations, council discussed the possibility of amending the Recreation Fee Assistance Program from a lump sum dollar amount for qualified applicants, which was coming from a set budgetary dollar amount in the recent dollar amount. This program had been severely oversubscribed, and council threw out many great suggestions on how we can amend the program, so administration hopes they've captured this here. This would add a line item to the schedule of fees for qualified applicants to pay 75% reduction of the fee current cost for regular non-program members. This would still be administered by Community Services, and although you note on the guideline sheet attached in your agenda package, the low-income cutoff, or LICO, system is amended annually to based on standards set right across the country. So we did compare this to multiple other programs, and the one put forward for consideration today is the majority type used in other municipalities in Alberta. So we are asking that council approve the amended Recreation Fee Assistance Program today, if possible.
Perfect, thank you very much for that. Any questions for administration? Councillor Brooks?
Yeah, thank you. On the bottom of page 14, we have activities that qualify, and one of the criteria is that there has to be a minimum of 4 days or classes in length. Now, I don't know how this fits in with everything, but if, like, what I'm wondering is the day rate, like if you just drop in at the pool, you know, it's like a $10 fee right now. Is that covered in?
Through the chair to
This?
Councillor Brooks, yes, it would cover the punch pass, the annual pass, all of the ones that are currently there, except for youth on their own are not accepted into this program. So where your line items are youth 12 to 17, I believe, on the schedule of fees, they are not able to apply for the program. It would have to be through their parents. So them individually would not be able to. But in the case of programming being a minimum of 4 days, it would be like swimming lessons. Some camps are 4 days or more. Do you have an addition on that one?
I will. Thank you for that. So just to make clear, of course, when you see those two line items where the program, let's say, is applicable, it's the same as we had in the past. So just to make sure, a membership means somebody makes an account at the Omniplex / the pool, of course, so they are in the system and are able to purchase memberships, so 3 months passes, for instance. The punch card, which is basically a drop-in for 10 times in a row, and you pay only 9, so 10% discount, is based on a membership. So people get an account first and then purchase a 10 punch card, which then they get let's say a physical evidence for that, and they come in and it dings off their account. So it does not apply, as it's written down here, for daily drop-in. So when you bring your cash money, daily drop-in, that does not include, because that also did not include in the old system when people got the $200 towards a membership or classes, for instance, what they bought, again, with a membership. So just make sure down here it says it's applicable for classes. So, for instance, as was said, swimming lessons. That means, just for council's consideration, of course, that happened in the past as well. People were able to do that. In this case, when people are continuing to do that, those classes have the, let's say, virtual option that a lot of that moment in the class will utilize this system. Classes in general, of course, are cost recovery. That's why we make the amounts that's payable for that. But just to make sure that council understands, if it stays applicable also for classes, that classes itself as a program sometimes might not run cost efficient because there is a big discount in place. We had that in the past as well. If one person purchased for their kid a class, a lesson series, that would be the same because they would be paid already through this program.
Does that answer your question? Any other questions? Go ahead, Councillor Wheeler.
It might sound silly, but in that same sentence, could we just put or be a punch pass or be a membership? Because it's kind of the way Cody's reading it. I think other people would too, that it has to be a minimum of 4 days. And that is in the punch pass or the membership.
Yes, through the chair to Councillor Wheeler, absolutely, we can do that. We're not asking you to approve the guidelines, we're just asking for the resolution for the schedule of fees, but yes, we will amend the English in that.
Yeah.
Perfect. Any other questions? If not, is there a member of council that would like to make a motion, please? Councillor Bowen?
I make a motion that council approve the amended recreation fee assistance program.
Thank you very much for that. Any comment, question, debate on the motion? Then I'll call the motion. All in favor? That is carried. Moving along, next up is 8.3, Polar Engineering Presentation. This is for the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Project for the Team Auction Center. Good morning, Ms. Pollard. Is it? Perfect, I printed it. Oh.
Oh, green. We've been identifying that our plant is getting old and it's aging out along with a few other things. Our heating system now has parts that we can no longer get for it because they're obsolete. So we have been looking at grants and trying to figure out how we can get as much money as we can without coming to ask you guys. What we found is that we can't get any grants from the government unless we have an energy audit, because we need to be as green as possible in order to access these grants. So we actually got a grant for $58,000 to hire some engineers to go through our building, to build us a plan to see how green we could get. We're looking at the GMF grant and the CEC grant, which the GMF, you have to be over 80% green. So that means basically every kilojoule you save goes to basically $1 of the granting money. It's a very difficult, very high number to get. We've got to 82%. So we can access quite a bit of money to that. Part of it is a debenture and part of it is they fund us. It should be in the graphs there to what it breaks down to. The CEC, we can access up to 500,000, and the GMF, I believe it's 1.8
Can we just roll
million.
up to that, Ms.
Yeah.
Thompson? To what Ms. Pollard's
Oh, I have the
speaking about?
clicker. How do I? Sorry.
Oh, you have it.
Whoops. Okay. Yeah, I was like, that's all stuff you don't really. Here's some of the numbers that kind of help kind of show you the energy reduction, doing it in phases, the savings. One of the things that was very interesting to us that the payback on this program is about 12 to 15 years, and it's about 150,000 a year in utility costs that we save a year. Now, the county had some questions regarding like the compressors, like you don't think that the solar panels are going to start the compressors. No, we don't, but we can sell that energy back to the grid as a cost saving as well. So the heating system, we'd go to a hydronic system and we'd be recirculating the plant heat into heating the building. Right now, we draw 100% air. So if it's minus 50, right now we're drawing 100% outside air, and then that air handler and that heater is having to heat that. We're very inefficient. So this is kind of a good way for us to be far more efficient, more green, and we have to be able to get these grants to access this money. And when we did an audit of the plant, we had equipment in there we weren't sure how old it had been because we've got a lot of stuff thrown in there, and our condenser is past its life expectancy. It's also undersized for the compressors we have. So when we go to put ice in, which is getting earlier and earlier due to demands, we put ice in about the end of July. The compressors are overheating and turning off because the condenser's not large enough to cool them. So it is becoming it's tired, it's not big enough. And our chiller expires, the life expectancy on it's 15 to 20 years. If we go right to 2030, it'll be at 20 years. The problem that we have found with the recommendations and with the audit is the chiller is also undersized for our plant. So the amount of fluid going through the pipes, we're worried about erosion and having a release. If we wait till the very end, the chiller's the most important part for those who don't know that houses the ammonia. We have about 800 pounds of ammonia on site. So not great. Everyone remembers Fernie. If we have a catastrophe, it's not going to be good. So we don't want to run things till failure as well. So that's why we're trying to access grants. I do believe with these grants, we get a 2-year window to complete the project. The projects are large. It would be completely redoing the plant. It'd be redoing the heating system in Omni One and redoing all of our air handlers and our dehumidifiers. Like some of the equipment that we're running is from about 1983. So, I mean, it's good. The compressors, we looked at doing reciprocating or the plate. Well, the plate and chiller is the chiller, and the other compressor, I can't remember. But anyways, it saves energy. That's basically what we're asking at. Is there any questions so far?
Perfect, thank you. And does anybody have any questions? Go ahead, Councillor Wheeler.
What kind of time frame would it take to actually do this switch over? Like, how long would it be down, or are you able to do it in the off season? What's that like?
Well, we're hoping to hear back on the granting. The CEC will be earlier, but the GMF, they're telling us we won't hear back till June. So this project, we'd be looking at doing it 2027 if possible. The plant is a narrow window, so we would have to have the equipment ordered probably this summer to make sure we have all of the equipment available, because we're going to gut the plant room and then use our existing space. it would be probably a good 3 months down in the plant room. Heating, we would have to do that during summer as well.
But will that affect any of the clubs or the seasons? Like, is it?
It shouldn't, not during the summer, because we're not using the heating system, the dehumidifiers in the plant during the summer. But we would have a very tight window to get this project where all of the equipment had to be ordered.
And space-wise, structurally, everything fits. The new stuff's
Yes.
probably smaller than the old stuff.
Yes, actually, it's amazing how small things are. I'm like, oh, it seems very undersized, and we have an undersized problem, but yeah, it's quite interesting. So they're saying, and we'll use a lot of from the heat, we'll be using that also through a broiler system, which ties into the hydronic system for heating throughout the whole building. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Any other questions? So with this project, this is just so you can get the funding for the grant, correct?
Yeah, we need to have also kind of permission from you guys to move forward to that you're supporting that we are looking at doing this project. These numbers are not guaranteed because we just don't know how much we're going to get from the grant. The GMF grant is very underutilized. So we have a good opportunity of getting a lot from it because it is a lot. Trying to get that efficiency is really, really difficult. So they're saying it looks very good, but nobody knows until you get it. And of course, then we'll base the project on the funding that we get. So we'll prioritize in order of what's obsolete and then go down to what's a kind of a must to a want.
So how did you come up with the baseline analysis and the recommended systems?
The engineer did this package for us, and they work on arenas only, and they came down several times to assess all of our equipment. They had they had energy or engineering, electrical engineers that came in, looked at what we had, and then they have an analysis. We sent them all of our power bills, all of our gas bills, all of our bills for the last 2 or 3 years, and then they have like a way that I don't know, I'm not an engineer. Yes, they have a formula that they go through to get us this.
Okay, and then so the recommendation from them is to apply for these 2 grants and then apply for the study as well?
This is the study.
This
The
is the
study is
study.
complete.
The study is complete?
Yeah, so we need to have the study complete before we could go ahead to apply for the grants because the government, we need to have them to be like, hey, this is how much we're going to save because that's how they give us the dollar amount based on the granting.
Okay, and then so the recommendation today is that we receive as information? And then how do you proceed ahead for the grants?
We'll
Only
have to have
receiving.
some paperwork and the motion from this that you guys are supporting us going forward for applying with the grant.
Okay, so that'll be, okay, that'll be the next step. So this
Yeah.
is just receiving the.
Yeah, this is basically, we wanted to notify you guys and council so everybody knew that we were kind of on this trajectory of trying to apply for these grants. So we don't know how long they're going to be around for either. That's the other thing. So we are starting a bit early, but when you think about some of the equipment we have is obsolete. The chiller is actually done in 2030, so legally we have to because it's a vessel that we have to replace. But because it's undersized, we do want to replace it a little bit earlier, so.
Yeah, and we've been talking about this project for quite a few years, knowing it's coming up.
Yeah, unfortunately. And then the heating system, we just didn't realize we couldn't get parts, and now the parts are obsolete, so we have it rigged so it works, but not ideal. It keeps it warm, but
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Does council have any other questions for Ms. Bullard? Is there a member of council who would like to make a motion? Councillor Wheeler?
Sure. I move that council receive the presentation for the greenhouse gas reduction project for the GMF and CEC grant applications.
This information?
Oh, sure. I can do, yeah. That will allow the town and county to replace the ice plant heating system upgrades, dehumidifier upgrades, and lighting upgrades at the Team Auction Center as information.
Thank you very much for that. Any comment, question, debate on the motion? Then I'll call the motion. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So moving along, next up is 8.4, which is, excuse me, the rural renewal stream. And this is Ms. Whaley this morning.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The Rural Renewal Stream is an initiative offered through the Alberta Advantage Immigration Program and is governed by Immigration and Refugee Protection Act. The town of Drayton Valley has been a designated community under the Rural Renewal Stream application since March of 2023. On August 21st of 2024, Council approved administration's proposed changes to the administration of the Rural Renewal Stream program, which included a limited number of endorsements, only endorsing job seekers and/or temporary foreign workers that are physically living in Drayton Valley, to enforce employers to actively recruit either through Indeed or the Canadian Job Bank, and to require that employers can only be endorsed after having been actively operating in Drayton Valley for a minimum of 2 years. The intention of these changes was to help mitigate the growing concern of a housing crisis, healthcare and service capacity, and still allow the community to thrive through the talents of foreign temporary workers. However, over the past 4 weeks, there has been a significant surge in employer applications and inquiries, largely fueled by rumors that the province plans to end the program in January 2026. This influx has placed additional strain on staffing resources. At the time, many candidates are submitting reapplications because letters of endorsement are now expiring after 1 year based on provincial changes, and they're still waiting permanent residency approvals under the Rural Renewal Stream program. These duplicate additions also have added to the workload. So currently there are 86 active applications pending processing, and staffing capacity is insufficient to manage both the existing backlog and new influx. So today, administration is recommending that Council pause acceptance of new applications under the Rural Renewal Stream program effective December 17th, 2025.
Thank you very much for that. Any questions for administration? Go ahead, Councillor Clark.
So just, you're looking at pausing the new applications, so the reapplications to remain would still kind of continue on, is that what we're saying?
Through the chair to Councillor Clark, administration is suggesting that anything currently in queue at this moment will continue to process, but anything else that comes in, reapplication or not, we do not have administrative capacity to keep up at this current rate based on the provincial rumors of, or the rumors that the province is discontinuing the program. So we simply don't have capacity.
Okay, so I guess my only thought is just if we're not processing any reapplications for folks that are already here, how is that impacting the businesses, I guess, that are using the program?
We have found, sorry, through the chair to Councillor Clark, we have found a lot of the reapplications are in the 86. It's not so many the new, it's because they changed the length of the expiry on the letters. So I suspect if we have a last minute thing with there's an issue and it's a local employer and they're close to getting through things, we'll make an exception, but we just can't take in anything else really at this time, so.
Any other questions? Go ahead, Councillor Jeffrey.
So I'm just thinking, once the 86 applications have worked their way through, is there a plan past that time to continue or pause more? Or?
Through the chair to Councillor Jeffrey, once we're through the backlog of applications and pending whatever the province is or is not going to do, we would come back to council and ask for the pause to be removed.
And I think as discussed as well, we were wanting to pause the program to wait to see what and if those provincial changes coming forward in the new year as well, what those would look like. Councillor Wheeler?
Yeah, I think that I'm supportive of pausing the program because I think the workload on administration is a lot, but I also would like to maybe suggest if we could put some kind of a link on there that says the program is paused, but if you're interested in this program, please put your email in here so that if we restart in the future, we can contact you. It's important that I think we let them know, but also that we kind of see how many people are actually considering the program. If all of a sudden we have 75 emails, we might need to look at hiring a whole nother person to deal with in a few months with that kind of workload. So it might give us a better idea of the demand of the program too.
Through the chair to Councillor Wheeler, we can absolutely track. We're not going to shut down the application. It will just, please contact us. The program is paused. Please contact us for more information, and then we will take all of that information down. Yeah, absolutely.
And you're right, it does take a lot of time of our administration to deal with these applications as they come in. Deputy Finn?
My only comment on this is that when we do pause it, or like if this goes to whatever, there is other streams. Right, there's other streams for immigration, there's other streams for workers as well, so I think if we can have that information available as well through IRCC and through all those organizations as well.
Through the chair, absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's a great point to add that for employers in the community, that this doesn't mean that there isn't other options available. And I think just that by also pausing the program, it gives an opportunity to address some of the concerns about the program. You know, when we look at local employment and applicants and creating pathways for youth as well in the community, that we'll see how that progresses by pausing this too. So we'll wait to see what happens in the new year. Any other questions? Is there a member of council who would like to make a motion? Councillor Clark?
Sure, I'll make the motion that council pause acceptance of new applications under the RRS program effective December 17th, 2025.
Thank you very much for that. Any comment, question, debate on the motion? Then I'll call the motion. All in favor? That is carried. We are moving right along of this heavy agenda this morning. Next up is 8.5, which is the Brazeau Foundation request for land. This is Ms. Whaley again this morning.
Good morning again, Council. At the December 10th Governance and Priorities meeting, a presentation was made to all members of Council concerning the need for an allocation of land for the proposed new build of seniors housing in the town of Drayton Valley, Brazeau County region. The request is for 4 acres known as a portion of the DeBee lands. The presentation by the foundation is attached for your reference. This does align with some of the council current priorities, as this council has not set new ones yet. The recommendation is that council approve the transfer of land to the Brazeau Foundation for a new seniors building, as per the letter attached for your reference.
Thank you very much for that. Any questions for administration? Go ahead, Councillor Clark.
Just in terms of transferring that land, so that we're transferring title kind of thing, and Brazeau Foundation is then the title holder and no longer the town of Drayton Valley, is that correct?
Through the chair to Councillor Clark, yes. I believe for them to apply for the grants that they need to apply for to build and to fundraise, they actually have to have possession of the land.
Okay, that's all I had.
Okay, Deputy Finn?
Is it already a separate title, that 4 acres, or would we have to?
Through the chair to Councillor Finn, there may have to be some minor subdivisions that are dealt with in that, but it is currently a separate parcel. Just
Okay,
depends on
sorry,
the
that's what I
actual 4 acres is an estimate in size. We have not had it formally surveyed.
Okay, and would that, like, so formally surveying, would that be at our expense, or?
It would be a condition of their take of the land. So-
Okay, thank you.
So it would be one of the conditions? Yeah, I'm not seeing a map. So it is subdivided currently, or is it?
It is a separate title. It hasn't been formally surveyed, so that would be a condition of us providing it if you would wish.
Okay, perfect. Councillor Wheeler?
Yeah, can we see a map, please, of the area? If we're having to actually allot a specific parcel today, I want to know exactly where it is.
If council would like to table this and take a short break, we can absolutely reproduce that for you.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be great. We can do that. Do we want to table it now and have a break, or do we want to table it, continue going, and then bring it back?
If you'd just like to table it, and then we can have your corporate services general manager present your operational budget, I can work on the map.
Okay, perfect. Any other questions in regards to this before we table it? I guess just a question is, so the recommendation today is that the transfer of lands to the Brazeau Foundation for the new seniors building happens. So are they requesting a letter of support for the lands at this time, or what is the request? I know there was a letter of support happening, and there was discussion around contingent on approval from the province as well as success of the project.
Madam Chair, I don't wish to speak on behalf of the Brazeau Foundation, as I am not the expert, but I do see that the executive director is here, and I believe if council is willing to let her speak, she would be able to answer that question better than I.
Yes, that would be wonderful. Good morning and welcome. You made it out in this blizzardy weather, right? A little chilly out there this morning. Okay.
Green. Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. So the transfer of land, the letter is appreciated, but the transfer to the Brazeau Foundation makes it concrete, so that way we can start borrowing against it and show the province where we are at. And it's the first step. So the transfer of land is actually what we are looking for, just as requested in the letter.
Okay, perfect.
Okay?
Any questions for Ms. Denise while she's here? Go ahead, Councillor Bowen.
I guess more so, maybe some questions, maybe some comments. I was also reading some minutes from the Healthy Communities Coalition, and they're also discussing doing some low-income housing down on that portion of land. Is that in conjunction with the Brazeau
No, we're not
Foundation?
connected at this time, no.
At that time? Okay.
No.
No, sounds
No,
good.
so basically what we're looking at is the 4 acres just for a new building for seniors or for plus 55, depending on where we go with that. But we're looking at self-contained, mixed marketing and mixed market and higher end market.
And then I guess another question too for you. Would you be comfortable with a time limit set by the council in regards to development and building?
Yes, that would be suitable as well.
Okay.
That way we would have something to kind of give the province to move forward within a certain time frame.
Okay, that sounds good.
So Ms. Whaley, could you do a transfer of land titles contingent on, as Councillor Bowen was saying, on a timeline or part of the conditions, or?
Madam Chair, I would have that handled by legal for any particular situation like that, out of my capability range.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, so I guess that there is some follow-up here. Is our member of council would like to table this, and then we can circle back around once we have the maps and know which exact parcel of land we're talking about?
Yeah, it is the. Yeah.
So I think Councillor Wheeler's wanting to see an actual town land location with aerial. Yeah, so we'd want to see some sort of town map with aerials and land location, right-of-ways, things like that. This is 8.5.
Perfect. Thank you. I move to table 8.5, the Brazeau Foundation request for land.
Perfect, thank you very much for that. I'll call the motion to table. All in favor? That is carried, and we will circle back around. So are we ready then to jump into 8.6, or do we need a minute or anything? Okay, wonderful. We will jump into 8.6. This is Ms. Thompson this morning, and this is for our 2026 capital budget. Good morning. Good morning. Oh, perfect. Thank you. So this is the capital project listing. Yes.
Good morning. So pursuant to the MGA, council must adopt a capital budget for each calendar year. Let me just open my thing all the way. Per section 246 of the MGA, a capital budget must include the estimated amount for the following: the amount needed to acquire, construct, or move or improve capital property, the anticipated sources and amounts of money to pay the costs, and the amount to be transferred from the operating budget. This year, administration brought forward a limited amount of capital projects to allow this council to do strategic planning. All projects this year are of high priority and serve to maintain core infrastructure and services. Administration proposes that council adopt the 2026 capital budget as presented. So just to highlight, the only change on the capital budget from when we initially presented it is that we reduced the main valve program from 250 to 200,000. Other than that, this budget is exactly the way we brought it forward in our deliberations. And we're doing an interim operating budget this year, but the MGA doesn't highlight anything specifically in terms of a council's ability to do an interim capital. There are some, there are municipalities that do it that way, but it has to be wrapped into operating, and there has to be extremely strict criteria in terms of the spending allowances, or else we cannot start to tender in January. And for that reason, it's, the way I interpret the MGA, council must and should accept a final capital, but final is a strong word. You can add but not take away because of purchasing. So if you pass a capital budget, then tendering can start in January, and for the timing of the projects. And if you want to do an interim capital, then the way legally I interpret the MGA, you still have to make allowances for what you can and can't do on the capital side. So it's just more clear and defined if you just do the base projects, and then when we do in the final budget, you add projects if you want.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Anything else, Ms. Thompson?
Not for the capital, I don't think.
Okay, perfect. Then I will go to Deputy Finn for questions.
Just one quick question on the arena upgrades at the TAC. That's on the railings. Okay. And did we talk to the county about
Yes,
cost sharing that?
they did decline. They had questions on visibility, if I understand it correctly.
Okay, any other questions? So as Ms. Thompson had mentioned, the only change from when we went through budget deliberations at the end of November was to the main valve replacement. I know that we had gone through each project one by one, and when I go back and I look at my records, there was a yes from everybody. I know that there was conversation under common services that if we could, to the best of our ability, maybe search out auctions and, price match and things like that to see if we can drive those costs down, and also considering warranty and things like that. But those were the comments that I have from the capital project list. Was there any other questions or comments on this?
I do have a comment on that. So just so council is aware that approving this doesn't negate us from going through our purchasing procedures. So we will go, all these items do have to go out and follow our procedures, and that that ensures that the pricing is fair, yeah. So just wanted to make sure that just because you approved $205,000 for a piece of equipment doesn't mean we'll spend that exactly. If we go out and somebody can do it for less and it's an acceptable piece of equipment, I just want to make sure that we do follow our purchasing procedures.
Thank you for that. And then also too, I know that there was, we've had a lot of discussion. We have a new council, and I can appreciate that, that we're wanting to ensure that we're being thorough when it comes to our budget and being familiar with the process and being sure that we're setting clear priorities for the next 4 years. That will come through strategic planning too. So we have been able to look at the projects that are presented today as well as the 10-year projects. So we will have some time to talk further about the budget. There is a suggestion for an interim operating budget. And as Ms. Thompson had mentioned too, after strategic planning, if there is something that comes to light, then there can be further conversations prior to the final budget in the spring as well. So if everyone is feeling comfortable, or if you have any other questions, and if you want to take a minute, or if you have any other questions, now is the time to do it too. So we can go through them each again, or we can look at the recommendation of passing final capital budget. And then that would mean that we'd look at passing an interim operating budget. So that is within working within a set amount, and then that allows a little more flexibility for some changes, and it's not approving the whole interim operating budget. So we can operate on the core services that we need to, the programs, and everything being delivered in the just over the first quarter of the year. So how is everyone feeling? I will go to Councillor Brooks first because he has his mic on.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just had a question regarding the sidewalk program. Is the active transportation fund still available? Not for this project, okay.
you have another question, Councillor
No,
Brooks?
that's it. Sorry, I should
Okay.
shut my mic off.
And then you can see too that the project that you were just referencing, it is funded through grants. If we look to our total grants, that will show which projects were funded through grants and which were through debentures or revenues as well. So how is everyone feeling? If we're feeling okay, is there a member of council who would like to make a motion for the capital budget? Or do we need further deliberations? Go ahead, Councillor Jeffrey. Yeah.
I move that council approves the 2026 capital budget in the amount of $1,970,363.
Thank you very much for that. Any comment, question, debate on the motion? Go ahead, Councillor Wheeler.
Thank you. I just want to say thank you to administration. I know that there's always a million projects on the wish list, and in each department, they all seem like they're critical. So I have sat through a lot of budgets, and this is definitely pared down compared to normal. And if you look at the future years coming, so I feel like these are all things that need to be done. Most of them are just very basic infrastructure. So I think it's important if we don't keep up with this kind of stuff, then we will end up having major issues down the road and having major tax increases. So I appreciate everyone's work to keep it minimal.
Thank you very much for your comments. I would echo Councillor Wheeler's comments as well. A big thank you to administration. I know it's always not just about today or the last couple weeks in November. It takes months and months of putting together a budget, and this budget does have a limited amount of projects. And when we look forward at the next 10 years, as I had mentioned, there's several other big projects for consideration coming up. So I appreciate the smaller side of things this year being presented. And I would agree with Farrell as well that we have to, when we're looking at budgets, we have to consider what is presented before us as well as what will be presented in coming years to ensure that we have the funds, and it's not always just about short-term fixes, it's about building that stability for the future over the next 4 years and the many years to come as well. So a big thank you to administration and the team for working hard on this as well. Any other comment, question, debate? Then I will call the motion that Councillor Jeffries has put on the floor. All in favor? And that is carried. So what we will do next is the 8.7 as the 2026 interim operating budget. I'm going to call a brief break, and then we will come back. We are going to move this one till after our closed session. Do we want to go into closed session now, or do we want to go through the reports, or?
Madam Chair, administration recommends that after break, you discuss publicly the changes that are being proposed in the interim, or the proposed interim
And
operating
before the
budget.
resolution.
And just if you could hold the resolution until you receive more information that is not privy to the public based on things like personnel, which will be discussed in closed session. And then we ask that the resolution wait until after you come out of closed session. So we also have, if you wanted to, before you take your break, have all of the maps that are requested with the sizes, and the Brazeau Foundation is present. So are you willing to do that before a break, or did you want to do that after?
Sure, so maybe before we move into 8.7, we can jump back to 8.5, and we can wrap that up before we go into break. That'd be wonderful. So we need a motion to remove it from the table. Councillor Wheeler?
Thank you. I move that we pull 8.5 off of the table and bring it back right now.
Thank you very much for that. I'll call the motion. All in favor? Okay, that is carried. Perfect. So we are back in 8.5, which is the Brazeau Foundation request for land. There was a request to look at the location and the proposed 4 acres of land that the Brazeau Foundation is requesting. So here it is presented. It shows us so it is the entire green with that little funny half a C there, and then the other little leg there.
So, Madam Chair, members of council, as you can see, there will require some subdivision on this after the survey is completed. So what would happen is, if you would conditionally approve the transfer of land to the Brazeau Foundation, administration will work with the foundation to figure out how they would access what their needs are. So it would come out slightly less than the current 4.25 more or less acres. Because obviously there is some small subdivisions that will need to take place in there just so roads aren't lost. But yeah, so it would be a conditional based on their providing the survey of what they actually need.
Perfect, thank you very much for that. Do we have further questions? Go ahead, Councillor Wheeler.
Thank you. In terms of the area structure plan, what's that whole space kind of designated as right now? Do we know?
Your current zoning on that particular parcel is actually on page 3, I believe, of what I just handed out.
Special parks and
A
recreation.
special park. So we would need to work on some zoning changes as well. But that's an in-house project. We can deal with that quite simply working with the foundation, so.
For sure. I just want to make sure too that it suits the area if we're having development there and then we're like, okay, and we're putting an amusement park beside it, you know, like that's not necessarily what they would want either. So I think it's important that we look at the whole picture, not just piecemeal things as we go.
Yeah, and that's a good comment, because we have the whole to be lands. There'll be other proposals coming forward for the remainder of the land, as well as projects. There was concept designs done by the previous council too of what they kind of envisioned in this lands, and it was mixed-use housing and things. But I think that going into strategic planning, these will be things all that council needs to consider moving forward, right? When we look at this particular piece of land. So Ms. Wheelie had made the suggestion that there could be the transfer of title conditionally placed on this, yeah. Does anyone have any further questions? Councillor Bohm? No? I thought you were reaching for your mic. Councillor Clark, sorry.
So Ricochet had the old lease there. Is that, have they got their reclamation cert there, or is it reclamation cert?
It's through the chair to Councillor Clark, yes. It's got its certification for complete reclamation.
Go ahead, Councillor Wheeler.
Thanks. Is there a reason why this piece was requested? And it's probably more out to the foundation, but specifically if we said you could have 4 acres anywhere on that spot, is that one good? Why?
Through the chair to Councillor Wheeler, previously the foundation had asked for the entire parcel of the DeBee lands to previous council, so including the rest of it. So this is a limited version that they've come up with.
So
And
just to.
it's adjacent to, I believe their reasoning, and I'm sure I will be corrected if I am wrong, but I believe it's because of the adjacent to current Shangri-La and the other holdings, so.
So the parcel of land that we're looking at has the reclaimed well site on it, is that correct?
Yes, Madam Mayor.
And do we know what the setbacks would be?
Based on a full reclamation, the setbacks would be based on the stage of which it's at reclamation. I don't know the exact setbacks off the top of my head, but based on the fact that it has its full reclamation certificate, they will be much limited compared to what previously it wouldn't have been a usable parcel,
Okay.
so.
And I think that this project is a wonderful addition to our community. I know that we're in need of housing, all types of housing, senior housing and everything. I guess my only question would be that there are additional parties that are interested in housing in the community and in this particular parcel of land as well as others. So I guess my question would be is, maybe to council too, is how do we determine that the best use of this, and then do we have other delegations that are coming forward for the requests of these lands as well as other town-owned lands? I know Councillor Bowman made the comment about another organization putting in a similar thing, so those are additional things to consider. So does anybody have any comments or questions around that, or? Go ahead, Councillor Jeffrey.
At this point, I would suggest that the Brazeau Foundation has stepped forward to take on the project of that 4 acres, and I see them as a very capable body of doing that. So to begin with, if we're talking the 4-acre parcel today, I would suggest we go with that part to start with.
Perfect, thank you for your comment. Any further questions? Is there a member of council who would like to make a motion? I will go to Deputy Finn.
I make the motion that council approve the transfer of land to the Brazeau Foundation for a new seniors building. Do I need to put like the lot plan in the motion?
You should, but could I ask for you just to amend your motion conditionally?
Yep,
Because we will have to go through subdivision amendments and all of that
with
too.
conditions of subdivision amendments
And rezoning
and rezoning and anything for the official transfer. So Plan 381 OTR, Block 109, Lot R, Northeast 849-7 west of the 5th.
Perfect, thank you. Ms. Thompson, did you capture all that with the conditionally? The conditionally? Okay, wonderful. So there's a motion on the floor, as Deputy Finn had presented. Any comment, question, debate on the motion? Go ahead, Councillor. I'll go to Councillor Wheeler first, and then I'll go to Councillor Jeffrey.
I just want to say that I think this is a great project. I'm super excited about it. I want to make sure we get it in the right spot, the best spot for our community. We don't do these projects very often. But yeah, I'm glad that it's coming forward and that you guys are ready to get out in the community and be excited about it. So it'll be nice to see it moving.
Thank you for that. Councillor Jeffrey?
Just had a quick question. So regarding the conditions, any idea of a timeline required to complete that?
Through the chair to Councillor Jeffrey, I will work with both legal, the foundation, and my planning team, and we will likely be able to accomplish all of the conditions within a 3-month period, including any possible rezoning based on what their needs are.
So rezoning would need to come to council, and then there's planning timelines on each, but I think as Ms. Willie had suggested that if everything goes well, then 3 months would be sufficient enough time. You would have to advertise that to the public as well and things like that, so that gives the timeframe for that as well. Any other comment, question, debate? I would just reflect as well that it's a fantastic project. It's nice to see housing being developed, or the proposal going in our community, particularly for our seniors. They are the pillars of our community, and there is a lack of housing and space when it comes to our seniors. So this would be a great project, see come to fruition in Drayton Valley. So with that, there's a motion on the floor. I will now call the motion. All in favor? That is carried. And we will call a 10-minute break, and then we will come back, jump into 8.7, which is the 2026 interim operating budget. Reconvene our meeting back at 10:11 a.m. and we'll jump back into decision items. Next up on the agenda is 8.7, which is the 2026 interim operating budget. And this is Ms. Thompson again this morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Pursuant to the MGA Section 242(1), council must adopt an operating budget for each calendar year. There is an option under Section 2 of Section 242(2) of the MGA to approve an interim operating budget for a portion of the calendar year. Adopting an interim budget is a common budget approach recommended for a newly elected council. It provides councillors with the opportunity to become familiar with policies and processes while ensuring services continue without interruption. When an interim budget is passed, it ceases to have any effect when the final operating budget for that calendar year is adopted. The 2026 budget assumes that prior service levels set by council are maintained. Additionally, the draft budget includes inflationary and cost of living increases in multiple expense types, including utilities, wages, insurance, and protective services. Administration looked at any potential efficiencies to alleviate the pressure on taxpayers. Administration proposes that council adopt the interim budget as presented. The 2026 budget is $32,310,858, of which a quarter will be authorized to be spent for operations until the final budget is approved. This allows for maintaining basic operations and staffing levels until final budget is passed. So I reprinted the operating budget by expense type. Do I have the pointer? I didn't think about that. So I can put it on. So I just wanted to highlight, we had discussed the budget in detail on November 28th and 29th, or 27th and 28th. That sounds more right. And I am just going to highlight everything that has changed since then, including the things discussed by council for changes. So this is all that's remained the same. So this is the sheet that is essentially the entire budget. And so of all the things that changed, we have, we went back and looked at benefits. And so in the past, we've always budgeted benefits as a percent average over all facilities. And because some facilities have so many more casual or part-time workers whose benefits are a lot lower, we went through to see over the last few years, it had been over budgeted. And so we went back and adjusted that average to bring it down to be more accurate. And then we have wage adjustments that we'll discuss more in closed. We have policing committee expenses. That was just something that got missed when I was doing budget. And so when we opened it back up to make changes, I just added it in. It's a new committee. I think you discussed it at GMP last week, I believe. And then our CAO did a second round of efficiencies, looking for different efficiencies for 156,000.
Councillor Wheeler?
Oh,
just a
yep.
quick question.
Sorry, the top page that I just gave, the last page I gave you. Yeah. That's the changes.
I was looking, okay,
Yeah,
too.
this is why that changed. But yes, we will go more line by line there, but I'm just saying everything that.
Is it this one?
Yep. Sorry, I apologize.
Okay.
I gave you so many pages and then didn't tell you which one I was looking at. So the efficiencies found were, there was some more smaller amounts distributed throughout the budget, not significant. The most significant were some HR contingencies, IT supplies, and economic development. We made some changes to find some efficiencies to make that budget work. And then we put the Aspen View Pond into the budget, so it was an option when we discussed it at deliberations. And at that time, we talked about putting half into reserves and then doing half later. But with the efficiencies found, we were able to just put the whole thing into budget. We put fireworks, EPBR operating, and $10,000 for the museum bathroom into the budget. And then we removed records management and reduced the parks and trees projects down, which had some savings there. We increased waste pickup revenue by increasing fees from $19 to $22, the flat rate per month, which saved us or gave us $98,000 extra dollars, or sorry, $91,000. And then we increased inbound water rates up to, well, the plan was to increase it up to 5%, but because of rounding, so it was going from 240, we'll discuss. We don't have pennies anymore. Yeah, we will discuss the specifics later, but I think it went from 240 to 250. With the increase to 5%, it was 252. And so we increased it to 255. So that was the water, and then we did an out of bounds to have a 5% additional rate.
Councillor Clark has just had a question.
So I don't see, so I see increased water revenue inbounds, increased water revenue out of bounds, increased sewer revenue out of bounds. Do we have any increased sewer revenue inbounds?
No, I will tell you why right now. Because they already increased by more than 5%, so we left it. It was already increasing by 8%, sewer inbounds, or just sewer in general. Correct. Yeah, that was already accounted for previously, correct, yes.
Okay. And then just a quick question too, when you, just above that, removed records management from the budget, and then down below, I don't see the reduction captured here. I don't see it.
It's the 98,000, the reduction. Yeah, and then 8,000 for the,
Oh, so
I
it's
just combined them into one line. The 98,000, that's the savings by removing records management and reducing the two other operating projects that
that's
had been
that and the
included.
tree.
Yeah,
Okay, so it should be 45.3, or no, sorry, 95.3?
so we reduced records management, that was 50, we took it out.
Yeah,
And then we reduced the trees by 40.
isn't it 43 or
And then we-
45.3?
Yeah, for training.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
So shouldn't it be 90 then? Yeah, 50 plus 40.
That's 90, yeah. So then the 8,200 comes from the life list.
I'll have to go to my spreadsheet to make sure the math is right, but
Oh, and
I
then
think it's right.
Okay, gotcha there. But,
I should have separated into lines. I just combined all the
oh, so it's
reductions
all
in one
there.
line.
Okay, I just want to make sure it's captured there.
Just so it wasn't so many different things, but yes. Yeah. You can't read into that formula there?
Yeah.
I apologize, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then water inbounds was increased to round to the nearest nickel, but whatever, it was like 6%. And then the out of bounds was added for both water and sewer to be 5% extra on top of the inbounds. So we'll discuss the actual rates when we get to the fee schedule, and it is on this paper at the top. And then those revenues, you'll see below, go straight into the water and sewer reserves. So the total savings at the end of all that was 80,000. So the water sewer revenues went into the water reserve, and the extra 24,886 was put into our capital replacement reserve. And so then, any questions on the changes so far?
Any other questions?
So then I wanted to highlight on here, so let's see if I can make this work. So you'll see that, I mean, it's a balanced budget, but you'll see that 31 last year to 32. So the total increase is just over $1 million, $1,071,000. And high level, we have 188,000 increase in debt servicing, both interest and principal combined, so cash outflows. We have 250 extra going into reserves, which is great. We have wages increasing by 244,000 and RCMP increasing by 241,000. All right, well, let's go to the top, Cody. I'll explain it to you. I wanted to make sure that it was very, very transparent where those changes were coming from and how much of it is unfortunately very much out of our control, especially in terms of, debt isn't out of our control necessarily, but it's out of our control this year. Leading up to this point, that debt we have to pay. And then, RCMP, and then a lot of the just cost increases from tariffs and not just tariffs, it's just a small part, but just inflation in general. And so I just wanted to make sure to highlight what that $1 million encompassed. So you'll see small changes in the other categories as well, especially contract in general, but we have the contract in general, a lot of it is grants that we also have up here as increased revenue, so it's in and out. So especially around the unhoused, we have a lot more grants than we had budgeted last year, but they're coming in and then going out, which results in a net increase or a $0 increase to taxes. So that's the high level budget. And I know we talked previously about passing a final budget, but we changed it to the interim to give council longer to deliberate and make decisions and set the mill rates. It's hard because we don't get the assessments till February. However, I think with this council, I've heard that you don't care as much about the mill rate as you do of what does it cost the taxpayer. And in that sense, you can set that right now. So if you just say like we're going to increase revenues by 300,000, if assessments are more than that, will it decrease the mill rate or vice versa? Then that eliminates that kind of conversation. But it is nice to have all that for council to make the final budget. So the mill rates the assessment information will be coming to us at the end of February, which means we should be able to pass budget in March. So I'll take any questions. The next page as well, I have the operating project listing as is in the budget right now. And
Okay, that-
To highlight as well, any one-time projects operating in nature cannot be started until budget is approved, final budget is approved. So that gives council the chance to, it's a little bit different than capital in that typically the procurement timing is a lot more shorter, like you don't need as much time. And so just to make it clear that it is in the motion very specifically that one-time projects are not to be started until final budget is approved.
Okay, go ahead, Councillor Wheeler.
Is there any projects administration has that would affect them? Like anything they're looking to tender in January or February that are operational?
I don't believe so, no. No, all these projects are summer or fall, yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Deputy Finn.
So just a question on the salary, wages, and benefits. So we have a 244,000 increase from 25 to 26, and then there's a wage adjustment of 197,518. Is that 197,518 in that 244 increase, or is that on, like, so are we looking at a 440,000 increase? No, okay. So that 197's in the increase of 244?
Yeah, so the reason why, so the wage adjustments went down and then up, and so it kind of evens out, if you know what I mean, which is why that total increase isn't as big as it could be.
Well, but
Because there was
even-
efficiencies found and
Okay.
then increases, yeah.
Okay. My only other comment, so from the initial proposed budget that we had back in December, the only difference between the wage is like 20,000.
That's right, so it's the difference between the 162 and the 197, because the benefits decreased. So we decreased the benefits projected across just from averages and then added an extra 200,000. So had we not found those savings, then it would be even more, yeah.
Go ahead, Councillor Bowen.
Thank you very much. I do appreciate all the work that administration has put into this. I know that it's been a lot for sure. And so, yeah, I guess I do have some concerns in regards to a portion of this. So it looks like currently maybe you guys had overestimated at the end of November wages being higher by 162,000 than what you guys had found since then. I don't know if this is something that has been a yearly occurrence, that wages have come under budget, or if wages have throughout the year increased in order to match that. That would be my first question.
Through the chair to Councillor Boehm, by policy, every 2 years, a compensation review of similar municipalities is conducted. So although there's been savings in the benefits because of the way things previously had been budgeted, the increase in wages is based on comparables.
Okay.
And we'll discuss more details in closed, so.
Sure. Yeah. And I guess, yeah, the other concern that I have going forward is it appears to me, whether this is true or not, it appears to me that we're probably looking at about a $300,000 wage increase next year for sure, and probably $450,000 the following year. That concerns me because that's probably about a 2% property tax mill increase next year, and then a 3 to 4% the following year. So I am concerned in regards to that if we do pass the budget as shown, that if we're cementing to that definitely is going to lead to some either stopping projects being completed and or basically doing property tax mill rates that maybe I'm not comfortable with.
And we can discuss further when it comes to enclosed, yeah. Any other questions? Councillor Wheeler?
Clarification, are you looking for questions on anything? Are we going through more of these pages, or I process-wise need to know where we're at?
Wherever you want. So Ms. Thompson has presented us with the background information and the operating project lists that we had deliberated on at the end of November. So maybe do we want to talk about any of the changes in the list here? Because there are things that we'll need to talk about in closed in regards to personnel. So we'll go through all of this first, and then we'll move into a closed session to discuss personnel issues. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and just to clarify, because it is important for council to understand this, but it is an interim. So you're just approving spending for Q1, and then we will reopen this up and after strategic planning. again, for the final budget. So it is important for you to understand it, but you're not married to this specifically. There are opportunities for changes before we pass the final budget.
Yeah, and this kind of allows us now a little bit of time, being a new council and passing an interim budget, to distinguish between what's essential, what can be phased in over time, and where we can find efficiencies within our core services. And then also when we look at moving into strategic planning in the new year, any priorities that are set then can be incorporated into the final budget moving forward. So as Ms. Thompson had mentioned, that this is for operations and programs and services to run sustainably and functionally for the first quarter. So maybe what we'll do is, any questions on the this proposed changes, the sheets that Ms. Thompson had handed out? That's the big one that's kind of breaking everything down, that talks about the operating budget changes as well as what was removed, and then the fee schedule changes. We will be getting into the fee schedule a little bit later after close, so we can save, I guess, some of those for the discussion there. So looking at the operation budget changes, what's been removed or reduced, any questions? And does that seem accurate? I'm just kind of looking at the notes from our meeting, and I think that it has captured what we were talking about. Does anybody have any questions or concerns? Go ahead, Councillor Wheeler.
Sure. On page 84 of the package, there is the Office of the CAO, and it has other expenditures, and I want a more detailed breakdown of what that is. That number is the same, like year after year after year, which for me would speak to that it's not set to specific
It's a
projects.
contingency.
Yes.
Let's look. Yeah. So I think in 2022, we reduced it from 500,000 to this. This is where any employee contingencies, unexpected things come out throughout the year if it's something that was not planned for. That's within the CAO's spending abilities before coming to council. And even if it's beyond and she does come to council, that's where it would come from so that adjustments to the budget does not have to be made throughout the year. So
I can follow up on that. This has handled any large legal or major employment concern for the last year.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so we had decreased it significantly a few years ago. I think we cut it in half, more than half. I can't remember if it was 400 or 500 to begin with, and it had been that for years and years prior. And then we cut it to that because we wanted to put more into reserves. I don't know if the mayor and Councillor Clark might remember. And we considered decreasing it, but I did not recommend that because if there is some leeway there, then if at the end of the year, we're over in a few, like slightly over in a few other areas as well, then we don't have to tax more the following year, because that's what's going to happen. That's what happens when you're over budget. Then the next year you have to tax for that deficit as well. And so when you have unexpected items that's just what they are, unexpected, you didn't plan for, then there is some room there where we don't have to come back and adjust the budget throughout the year. And then we're already late on taxing. Otherwise, if we're over, then we just put it into the surplus and we can use it the next year.
Yeah, I just want to make sure as we move forward, if we're doing a tax increase because we're looking and needing more money and yet we're just not potentially spending any of this. It's,
Oh, it is, I've never seen a year where none of it's been spent. Like there's always something that falls into there. It just, when, on the financial statements, it's not under contingency because all those expenses belong to a certain expense line on the financial statements. So you won't see it in here, but that's where it's budgeted specifically for council to see. But when the expenditures actually happen, they're on other areas. So you'll see like wages in certain areas be high because if it's a wage-related expense, then that's where it belongs on the financial statements. We can't have a financial statement line that's ambiguous, you know what I mean? And so it will look like when you're looking at actuals, you're like, oh, you're never spending it, what the heck is this? But I track it separately to see what we spend because of that, for that reason. But I can go back and tell and see how much was spent in the last few years, but this year it's probably all. In 2025, it's probably going to be all. But in other years, it's been some, no years, all of it, but yeah, that's a little bit more information.
That's what I was looking for. Thank you.
Any other questions, Farrell? Okay, sure. I'll go to Councillor Jeffrey.
Just have when looking at this operating expenses, there's a line that says transfers to local boards.
Library mostly.
Library,
Yeah.
thank you.
And has that increased, stayed the same? I'm just trying to find it right now.
Library went up by 2% or 3% this year. It's not just the library. I'll go in and see what else is in there, but it's mostly library and other like granting. So other grants outgoing would fall
Okay.
into there.
And the library
Yeah.
typically will come and present their financials and budget to us on is it a yearly or a quarterly?
Yeah, annual, I think, yeah.
Annually basis. And if there's ever any increases, they'll make a note and let us know, or for an additional ask, and then we would consider it at budget times.
Here, I'm just trying to see what.
Did you have anything else, Pat? That's okay. Okay, I'll go back to Councillor Wheeler.
Thanks. On page 93, so with the infrastructure, salaries and benefits, I know we had talked about the assistant position coming on there. And the dollars make sense, but I'm just wondering if the page below talks about the positions we have, like the full-time equivalencies, and doesn't show that changing. So is that included in the 2025 positions as
Yeah,
well?
it was a term position, so, but it is currently active, so I had it in 2025.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not additional, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, it's already in.
But because it's term, it came back to budget for making its way permanently, yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure if people are looking at discrepancies. Thank you.
Okay, I'll go back to this side of the room for questions. Anybody else have questions? Going once? Going twice? Okay, so we've looked at the operating budget changes, removed, everything looks good. Is everyone good? Then maybe what we'll do is, before we move on to resolution and further discussion, we'll have a councillor make a motion to move us into close, because we can be discussing personal matters there, and then we'll be coming out and looking for a resolution to pass an interim budget then. Is that fair? Okay, is there a member of council that would like to make the motion? Thank you very much, Deputy Finn.
I move that council move into closed session at 10:36 a.m. in accordance with the Access to Information Act, Section 29D.
Thank you very much, and I do see that there's a little note that you just didn't know it by heart there the last time. Thank you. Thank you very much for that. I'll call the motion. All in favor? That is carried, and we are enclosed. Perfect, and we will reconvene our meeting at 12:47. I was going to say AM, but it's PM. And is there a member of council who would like to move us out of closed, please? Councillor Boehm, thank you very much for that. All in favor? That is carried. We'll jump back in. So we've made our way through the decision items. We wrapped up capital budget, and we paused for a moment at 8.7, which is our 2026 interim operating budget, just to move in close to discuss some personnel discussions. And now we are back out looking at a resolution or any further discussion around the interim operating budget. So did you have any final notes for us, Ms. Thompson?
Yes, I just want to say that I know that budget is a big responsibility for council, a lot of big decisions to make, so I appreciate all the input. And there was a lot of decisions that were made before we brought to council, just to make sure that we were focusing on core infrastructure and core services, and to defer some of the other projects till after strategic planning to give council a chance to do that. So I just wanted to make a note of that and thank council for all the hard work. And just remind everyone that this budget, we have found multiple efficiencies. Unfortunately, there's still an increase in costs. and a lot of which were largely out of our control. For example, utilities went up by a little bit, insurance went up by a little bit, our CMP, along with our debt payments. So those are some things to note that went up, and a lot of those are harder to curb back in a single year. So we did make some cuts in other areas, and some of them are deferrals, in all honesty. Some of them are deferrals to make this budget year a little bit easier on a new council. And then some are just efficiencies as well. So it's brought us to a balanced budget, and although it's just interim, I do think we've done a lot of good work here, and I'm really hoping that we can move forward with all of your comments to bring a final budget in March. So that's it for me.
Perfect, wonderful, thank you. So does anybody have any final questions, concerns? Go ahead, Councillor Clark.
Yeah, I guess the question that I have, we had chatted previously about, you know, straight up tax increases, and then we talked about water and sewer rates in, you know, inbounds, out of bounds, all that stuff. And when I take a look at the operating budget change, changes, they're not huge dollar values. So I guess when we look at offsetting taxation that way, could we look at raising that a little further? Or, I mean, at this point in time, we're looking at an interim budget. We're looking at approving fee schedule changes, correct? So I guess at what point in the new year can you revisit that? Anytime?
Anytime. This is absolutely not that it can't be done. I would not recommend increasing utility rates to offset fees, taxes, any more than we already have, because that's the problem we're in. That if you're gonna, those rates should be going into reserves, because we're just essentially shoveling ourselves into a deeper hole. That's just the comment I would make. However, in terms of rates, I'd have to look at timing wise, like we could change it, then how, I can't remember offhand how much notification we would need to change that, but fee schedules can be changed by council.
Yeah, and my only thought there was, is for sure, I agree with you 100% that should be reserve. Those should be going into reserves, not replacing any sort of taxation. So any taxation that we have that we were thinking of maybe putting into reserves, use that for that.
Well, and these will help alleviate tax needs in the future. These reserves will alleviate needs for tax increases for maintenance. And so, yeah, and it isn't a lot, to be honest, because we were already, well, you can see right on the sheet I gave you. So the total was just over 50,000. All the essentially 1% additional increase to water, and the 5% additional for out of bounds, because it is limited. It's fairly limited, the out of bounds that we do have. And so it was not as much money, but, you know, 50,000 in reserves is a lot better than nothing. 50,000 a year in a couple of years, you can actually do a small project, but still, like, it is going in the right direction for sure.
Go ahead, Councillor Bowen.
I guess another thing too, I know we had discussed doing the Aspen View Pond here instead of in 2026, doing it in 2027. I know we had, you guys had moved it to 2026 again. And I guess maybe that is something that we want to approach. I don't know if we want to do that today or if we want to talk about that when we actually do a final budget or not. I'm still not sure about doing it all. Sometimes I would prefer maybe we do put money more into reserves as opposed to completing that project this year and worrying more so about that in 2027, but it's just my thoughts on it.
Yeah, so, I mean, council can choose to remove it now or at final budget, but it cannot be initiated until final budget, which is why I worded the clause like that. So it is definitely something you can address at final budget and still halt that for next year.
There was, excuse me, some conversations, I think, around that particular item, that there might be an oil field company or fracking happening in the community, or a way to get the water out of the pond that could help with the costs too. So I don't know if you're okay with leaving it in, waiting, and then determining if that's something that could happen and what that would add up to with that time as well for consideration, because we can't add it back in. We can take it out at the time or cancel it? How everyone feels? Well, or you don't have to give an answer. It's up to you.
More so along the lines, I was just feeling a conversation could be had on that. Yeah, I would say keep it in for now for sure. Yeah, I'm also of the mindset that $250,000 seems fairly excessive when there are people that might be interested in buying water, so that could be a possibility. Yeah, I guess just, as opposed to us just saying, yeah, we're gonna 100% spend on $250,000 on it this year, let's, you know, I don't mind it sitting on there and then analyzing and seeing what that cost actually is going to be before we say we're going ahead with it. That's all.
Thank you for your comments. I appreciate what you're saying, and I would agree. The only thing is, though, I always, when I look at this year's budgets, I always try to look ahead for the next 4 to 10 years. So I anticipate those projects, and every project that gets pushed or potentially half pushed, then it just adds up for more consideration for the next budget. So if we're concerned now, just looking at the projected 10-year capital project list and in operation, some of the things coming forward, there's some really steep projects coming up. That's the only thing that I would just say to consider for council or to make a note of. So if there's no further questions or adjustments, and everyone's good with it, is there a member of council that would like to make a motion? There's been no changes in discussion so far. It's still at the in the amount of the $8,077,714
Yeah, that's just the budget,
To
quarter of
operate.
it,
Yep.
correct.
to operate for core essentials and programs and et cetera. Member of council would like to make a motion? Sure, go ahead, Councillor Wheeler.
Thank you. I move that council approve the 2026 interim operating budget in the amount of $8,077,714 to continue operating for the first quarter, with the direction that no one-time operating projects be initiated until the 2026 final operating budget has been approved.
Thank you very much for that. Any further comment, questions, or debate on the motion? Again, I would just add thank you very much to administration for presenting us. I know that there was discussion whether we would do an interim or not, so I really appreciate the extra work that's gone into this and appreciate all the work that council has done deliberating. I know that they're not easy decisions, and with being a new council, this allows us a little bit more time to make those decisions, as well as go into strategic planning, set the direction, and look at the scope of what will be happening over the next 4 years. I know there's lots to consider, and we want to make sure that we're considering every dollar when it comes to the residents and the families of Drayton Valley. And I think that by passing an interim operating budget, it allows us a little bit more time to go over some more finer details that we need to and incorporate anything that we may find that we want to drive forward through planning. So with that being said, there is a motion on the floor that council approve the 2026 interim operating budget in the amount of $8,077,714. I will now call the motion. All in favor? All opposed? That is carried. So next up, we have, I was going to say the addition, but we don't have the addition. So that wraps up our decision items, and we have council reports. So
We do have an addition, yeah.
that was, oh yeah, it was 12.2 though.
Technically, what's also coming out of close.
Oh, so,
Close moved on the agenda.
okay, sure, so
Oh,
we'll go
sorry.
to.
My apologies.
Yeah, I know, because that's what I was looking for, and I'm like, it's at 12.2. Okay, we can jump to 12.2 right now and discuss the schedule of fees.
Thank you.
Okay,
Administration from each town facility and department has reviewed their respective fees for the coming year. The 2026 final fee schedule reflects the town's goal to provide affordable services while balancing fiscal responsibility and, where possible, achieve cost recovery. Administration presents the attached 2026 final fee schedule for council's consideration and adoption, with the intention the fees be implemented on January 1st, 2026. I will go over the changes, and I will refer you back to the paper I had printed. And so at the top, we have the initial license fee for liquor and cannabis. It was an addition.
This paper, council.
Sorry. Oh, my goodness.
This is what it looks like.
Okay, got it here.
So it's under 1.5, so that you can reference the actual fee schedule, so they're numbered on the side, so you can see where they are in the actual fee schedule. So 1.5, we added the line for initial license fee for liquor and cannabis for $10,000. And then 3.2, we added the drainage survey verification fee for $150. So that's when our civil engineer does these surveys, so we can charge for them. We added a section under Omniplex and under the pool for recreation fee assistance program at a 75% discount. And we updated inbounds water rates to reflect what we say 5% increase. It actually is closer to 6%, 6.3 actually, I think, to make it go from 250 to 255. And then we updated the out of bounds to be an extra 5% on top of that for water. For the unmetered, we did the same. We left the inbounds at 85 and we increased 5% for out of bounds. And then for sewer, we did essentially the same thing, except the inbound stayed the same because it was already increasing by 8%. And so we just have the unmetered, we just have the out of bounds changing is what we're doing. And then at 13.3, we increased the monthly garbage flat rate from $19 to $22 a month. And we made a correction at 13.4, which is the Aspen waste. We had sludge, it was just a miscalculation, so we just fixed it to be the proper amount. And, I have the rec fee assistance program under fitness. So we have on top, we have it under pool and then again under the Omniplex at a 75% discount. So those are all the changes, some of which we talked during deliberations and some that came up after deliberations, and they're all reflected in this fee schedule as well as in the operating budget. So I will take any questions on the fee schedule that you might have.
Any questions? It is pretty quiet, right? I know everyone's still looking at it, you just need a minute. You can pause for a minute. And then the previous, where the changes were, they're not captured here, like showing the,
Not on this
Not on
one,
this
they are
one.
on your initial one.
okay.
This copy of the budget will go public, this whole package.
Okay.
So we just, for clarity purpose, we just uploaded the actual fee schedule as is.
Yeah,
So all changes discussed during deliberation, like that were brought forward before deliberations, I don't have them highlighted. But
Okay.
I definitely can refer to
oh, I
those
just thought
changes.
maybe if someone was looking for comparables or
Yeah.
wanting that. Go ahead, Deputy Finn.
Sorry, just on the mobile vendors on 1.5, so that would be like if someone just came in town for the day and wanted to sell, or is that like the door-to-door sales guys, or what would be a mobile vendor?
So those are peddlers.
Sorry? The guy that sells quilts across from Dodson. Oh, okay.
So is that a peddler? We used to call them, I'm not saying that, I'm saying it used to be referenced in here as.
Well, just, and then there's also direct sales, so that
peddler.
would be the door-to-door, like the alarm guys?
Yes, Councillor Finn, or Deputy Mayor Finn, that is the direct sales. Yes, it is also synonymous with peddler when it comes to mobile vendor. And yes, this is another example of things we need to clean up
To
between
change, 'cause
bylaws
that
and
was-
schedules.
That was the
and-
wording in previously, that's not my language,
Okay.
I'm referencing what,
Yeah,
that's
no,
why I
you
was
are
like-
referencing one of the iterations of the business license bylaw.
Yes, yes, thank you. Go ahead, Councillor Wheeler, or, sorry, Deputy Finn, did you have another comment? No, okay, go ahead, Farrell.
For the addition in 1.5 for the business license there, for the liquor and cannabis, is that for retail or is that for anything?
Through the chair to Councillor Wheeler, that is intended for new retail sales. So not distribution, not growth.
We used to have
Not
like
that you-
counseling services and stuff like that, that was all separated like by line items, and I know those got removed. And I just,
Would you like the phrasing to be changed for retail sales, cannabis, and liquor?
I
I
just
think
think
so.
clearer is better for most. If it's
Absolutely.
something new and we have a definition, yeah.
Yes, so we definitely will put new retail sales.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's a significant change. I think that to be noted.
Significant change would imply a new business license, so it would fall under new.
New, okay. Any other
Sorry, I
questions?
just, you know exactly what they're asking for? I do. Okay, just so I know, so that I don't have to ask the question right now.
Retail.
Okay.
Yeah,
perfect.
retail to be
Now, we
added.
kind of went back and forth of how to put it in there. Should we put it separately, the retail fee separately, and then the initial or not? So we kind of went back and forth, but yeah, we'll, okay.
So
Initial retail
initial business.
Okay,
Okay, we know exactly.
thank you, thank you.
Now we're just adding words in. Now we're just adding wordings, yeah.
Sentences by committee are so much more fun.
Right? Okay, if everyone is good, is there a member of council would like to make a motion? Go ahead, Councillor Bowen.
I move that council approve the 2026 fee schedule changes going forward. That will be effective as of January 1st, 2026.
We need, this is a bylaw.
Oh, it's a
Wait,
bylaw.
there's some procedural here, and I apologize, I should have explained this before we got to this level, this is my fault. For all new members of council, this is a bylaw, so we have to do 3 readings. So we're going to have to, the first person who wants to do anything will be moving that council give first reading to the fee schedule, as written out in the package provided. Now, also for new council, you cannot do 3 readings in one day unless you move by unanimous consent to do that. So general practice, not always followed, but general practice is, even if you are going to disagree with whatever bylaw is presented, you would move the third, to go to third unanimously and vote with that, and then still cast your ballot against or in favor on the third reading. So those are just some general practices for new council, and I apologize, we should have briefed you on that in advance.
No, thank you for that, Ms. Whaley. I should have caught that as well. And yes, she's correct, just to give it first reading, to put it on the floor, and then that way, if we have it unanimously, then we can move forward with it.
Okay, I will correct then and say that council give first reading to fee schedule bylaw 2026-01/F as presented.
Thank you very much for that. Any comment, question, debate on the motion? Then I'll call the motion. Those opposed? That is carried. Okay, so we cannot move forward with the fee schedule? I thought we can't move forward.
First reading, second reading, if he votes against, unanimous consent to go to third.
So you have to go, do first reading, then you do second reading, then you have to move to go to third reading, and then do third reading. So if going to third reading is not unanimous, then you can't just go to third.
No, it's going to first reading needs to be unanimous to put it on the floor.
No, it is not, just third reading, just to move to third.
Okay, so is there a counselor that would like to, thank you very much, Counselor Clark Campbell.
Yes, I will make the motion that council gives second reading to fee schedule bylaw 2026-01F as presented.
Thank you very much for that. Any comment, question, debate on the motion? Then I'll call the motion. All in favor? All opposed? That is carried. Is there a member of council that would like to give unanimous consent to third reading? Okay, Councilor Wheeler?
Thank you. I move that council give unanimous consent to third reading to fee schedule bylaw 2601F as presented.
Any comment, question, debate on the motion? Then I'll call the motion. All in favor? That is carried. And we may move to third and final reading. Councilor Clark.
Sure, I'll make the motion that council give third and final reading to fee schedule bylaw 2026-01F as presented.
Thank you very much for that. Any comment, question, debate on the motion? I'll call the motion. All in favor? All opposed? Thank you very much. That is carried. Okay, so we are wrapped up with the fee schedule. I think that is the first budget that I've ever had councillors opposed in all the years, yeah. Well, the interim as well. Okay, so moving along the agenda, now that we've wrapped up closed session and the addition of 12.2, we will jump into councillor reports. First up is Councillor Boehm.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So yeah, a couple, not lots has happened in the last 2 weeks, I would say, but a few different things. On the Wednesday, which would be December 3rd, we had attended the Youth Advisory Committee down at the CET Center. I thought that was a fantastic event. Actually was able to sit there and collaborate a little bit with some of the youth, as well as discuss some other exciting things with some members of other councils, which was actually pretty cool. And then on the 10th of December, we had our first governance and priorities meeting, as well as our economic and development meeting, and that was, I don't know, I thought that was very well handled. Deputy Finn was the one that chaired it, and I thought that was a great time. And then after that, on December 15th, we had a chance to go and look at the early center daycare, as well as the MCC and tax center. And then we also looked at the community services building. So I was able to tour all those facilities. And I enjoyed touring their facilities. I understand the need for the daycare, just being able to talk with them and kind of the struggles that they're having. And then looking at the TAC and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, obviously there's some changes that we need to implement there in the next few years, which I'm looking forward to. So, thank you.
Perfect, thank you very much for that. Next up, we have Councillor Brooks.
Yeah, I've had even less happen since our last council meeting. But yeah, we had, I was there for the facility tours. We went through ECDC, MCC, and TAC. And that's really it. That's all I've done. That's all that's been happening. I have had no committee meetings. So, yeah, that's it.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Councillor Clark.
Well, I have more than Cody, so just kidding. So I attended the MCC and TAC tour as well. Got an understanding of where things are at currently there and kind of the stuff we have to look forward to here in terms of capital projects. And then also did the judging on the gingerbread houses, and I can tell you that there was a lot more effort and skill put into that than I ever could. So it was a great job. I think they were very creative. Good job.
Yeah, whoa. Pretty amazing. I went and, that was Bill's chair. I swear to God, it's Bill, yeah. I went and had a look at the gingerbread houses at lunch, and they are pretty amazing, I will tell you. Have you seen them, Amanda? You might want to take a picture for the paper. You have to. It is absolutely amazing.
So good in there. I just want to sit there and breathe.
Breaking off little pieces, right? Councillor Jeffrey, you are up.
Okay, so I'll start off by saying it's definitely Christmas season. Microphone.
Oh, yes.
I'm sorry, I don't see anything up there, so. Sorry. I started by saying it's definitely Christmas season. I've attended more gatherings in the last couple weeks than I think I have in the last 10 years. I went to the Shangri-La Lodge Christmas evening and welcomed everybody on everyone's behalf here.
Thank
So
you.
it was great. FCSS had a wonderful turkey dinner at the meeting. Health Foundation, Valley Voices Choir, Eagle Point went over and had snacks and appetizers like crazy. And I judged Christmas, or gingerbread houses with my partner to the left, and yes, we both agree. We cannot even begin to imagine doing it. So the idea that council would put one in next year, not sure. Okay.
Good luck.
We aren't going to be much help. However, having done all of that, I did squeeze in the first governance and priority meeting, et cetera, so learned a lot again. And I attended my first FCSS board meeting. They served the turkey dinner because we were faced with a big task that day. We were given a $100,000 budget for granting for applications, et cetera, that came in. So there were big decisions made that day. It was a great experience. I was part of the tours of everything that people were talking about. A good thing that included a tour of the gym over there after all those Christmas gatherings. I know where I need to go after Christmas, so confirmed that. The Sustainability Committee, we met yesterday. We are blessed with the fact that Farrell is our chair. She certainly has the experience that's needed. I learned about programs that are part of, offered by the town, and significance of some of them, like I need to find out some more about the weeping tile around my house, I think.
That will come out of sustainability.
Yes, it will. So it was a very, very busy 2 weeks actually for me, so.
Oh, wonderful.
Thank you.
Well, it sounds like you had a lot of fun. Have we lost connection? I don't see any of the TVs on.
We're still live.
Are we still live? Okay, perfect. Okay, we'll keep moving on. Councillor Wheeler.
So yes, I was away for a little bit and then jumped back in with a few of our regular committee meetings, but I did want to highlight Sustainability Committee. So we did go through and start with reviewing the programs the town has that are on the town website. And we're going to look at them, kind of make an action plan of where we think we need to move forward or not move forward with them, and then go from there. The one piece we picked up on that's a bit shorter is just the food recycler program, cycler I should call it. So a lot of us have them. They still have some available. If anyone's interested or curious, especially on council, let us know, we can chat. But just that we had given them out as part of an actual pilot project to help diversion from the landfill. So instead of all that waste going in there and breaking down and causing leachate and stuff, that if it's not in there, it helps us all as residents. And so, yeah, kind of exploring the program and then asking now that people have had them for a year or two, are they still using them? How much? What else would they like to see? Kind of just a bit of a follow-up on the program. So we're going to start with some of that list and then go through the other programs. So we're very excited to be communicating and bringing stuff, and we'll bring everything through council and keep going. But I just want to wish all the staff and our public a very Merry Christmas, and we will see everyone in the new year.
Thank you very much. Deputy Finn.
Yeah, so it's been not too busy, but I had an agenda setting meeting with Mayor Dodds and administration, so thanks for putting up with me through those meetings. The 10th, chaired my first GMP meeting. In the afternoon, we had economic development. On the 11th, I had the airport meeting, so it was really interesting to meet the board of the airport and just kind of figure out what kind of their priorities were. They had some land ownership questions, and I was able to direct them into the right direction to figure out who adjacent landowners are and stuff, just through the county website, which is good. And then 15th, I did the MCC and TAC tour, which was great, and community services tour, and then council today. So it's been
Perfect.
fun.
Thank you very much for that. For myself, again, busy last couple weeks, wrapping up as we wrap up the end of 2025. I'd also attended the youth advisory event at the CETC. What a wonderful job that our youth are doing at representing our community and getting out there and engaging. They all speak very well and are very engaging, so it's nice to see that. I've been working on an initiative in regards to safety and crime, just reaching out to some businesses and other communities. It's something that I'll bring forward in the new year and discuss with council along with Ms. Whaley as well. Had a meeting with the U of A and Rural Wealth meeting, and just for some updates and what's happening in the new year, as well as to wrap up the year-end council meetings. I've been trying to connect with each of you, and if I haven't connected with you, I'm hoping I will before the new year. I know that it's been very busy. People have been packed with meetings, and then I ended up getting sick for a few days, so I will try to connect with everybody before the new year if I'm able to. And then I just want to say, again, a big thank you to our administration for everything you've done over the last year, for everything that you provide, budget and everything, and also to this new council. I think it's going to be a great 4 years. It's nice to see new ideas and fresh perspectives come to the council table. So I'm looking forward to the new year with all of you, heading into strategic planning. And I just want to wish everyone a wonderful Merry Christmas, many blessings in the new year, and just looking forward, to what the next 4 years will bring and what the new year will bring for all of us. So thank you to everyone. And that wraps up the council reports. We have no administration reports this morning. Is there a member of council that would like to accept all these reports as information? Deputy Finn, thank you very much for that. All in favor? That is carried. As we wrap it up, any roundtable discussions for the end of the year? Go ahead, Councillor Bowen.
Yeah, I did have a town resident reach out to me, just questioning in regards to water meter readers. She was wondering as to why we do not have, I guess, not portable readers, or you can read them from the street as opposed to actually going in and walking up to the house and reading them that way. I know in Sylvan Lake, they do the same thing. They don't have to look at yours. They can do it from the sidewalk, so. I don't know what you would call that, but,
Yeah, because it's like $5 million to implement.
okay, that's what
Yeah.
I had anticipated, and that's kind of what I had said. It's probably very
There's nothing my
expensive.
team would love more,
Yes.
literally, but it has never been
Feasible. Yeah.
just feasible at this point.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it would be amazing. We could catch leaks quicker too
Sure.
if it was there's actually, some people have it where it's like satellite based, I think, or something, and it's live,
Yeah.
like on our computers. We can see it, we can see the leak as it's happening, and we would love it, but it is extremely
get the
costly.
county to pay for it,
Yeah, good idea.
We'll build a wall and the county can pay for it, yeah.
Yeah, that's something that I think the Sustainability Committee looked at 2 years ago, and like Elvira had said, a lot of money. Oh, yeah, for sure. But great question.
We have, sorry, just one more thing to note. We did, Shelley would know more about this, and we can maybe add it to an agenda item sometime in the future, but we did start switching to a certain type of meter to make it possible someday. And so it's just slowly as the meters come up, so we don't have to do it all in one big project, but that's then the reason is it's just been so expensive that compared to other projects, it doesn't make sense. And our meter reader fees are like, at the time when I did the analysis, it would have to be like, it wouldn't be paid off in 100 years compared to what we're paying right now to read the meters, unfortunately. But there would be other benefits, customer service, catching leaks quicker, sustainability, all those kinds of things, but just dollars. What we're paying right now to read the meters is so low compared to the implementation of it that it was actually kind of mind-blowing. So maybe, I'm sure there'll be advancements and cost reductions as it becomes more common. So hopefully, it's definitely something we're keeping our eye on, because it's my team, we talk about it all the time. It would be amazing,
Does anybody have anything else? No, pretty quiet bunch. I think everyone's brains have stopped working here, all the numbers and everything. If there's no further round. Oh, sure. Town office hours and facilities over the holidays.
So for the Civic Center, it will be closing at noon on the 24th and noon on the 31st. Off the top of my head, I do not have the times for Team Auction Center or Ricochet. Do you know them?
Team Auction Center is noon as well, on both days, I believe, and I believe the pool's closed on the 24th, do you know? I believe the pool's closed on the 24th, but I don't, I'm not 100% sure. but you
Everything
know
will
what?
be online?
Everything will be online, yes.
Okay, perfect. So we can always share those too. If anyone's on Facebook, just share those for the community, so they're knowing what those hours are and everything. Okay, so if there's no further roundtable discussions, we have a few information items and correspondence. 11.1, Town of Drayton Valley Library Board meeting minutes for October 16th, 2025. 11.2, Brazeau Foundation meeting minutes. 11.3, invitation for Primary Care Alberta Mental Health Symposium. 11.4, City of Red Deer Mayor, congratulations. 11.5, Deputy Premier Ellis, Minister of Public Safety and Emergency Services. Is there a member of council that would like to accept these as information? Is there an action item? Primary Care Network? Okay.
on the Saturday?
What's the date?
I think we're going to get back from our strat planning.
Yeah, so that would be just an easy response to the letter that either mayor or a representative from council will be able to attend. Is there a member of council who would like to accept this information, please? Go ahead, Deputy Finn, thank you very much. I'm like, go ahead, Deputy Finn, thank you very much. You know what I mean.
I move that we accept these 5 items as information.
Thank you very much for that. All in favor? That is carried. And that wraps up our final council meeting and budget meeting for the year of 2025. We will adjourn the meeting at 1:24 p.m. And thank you again, everyone.